Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. So in today's video I wanted to talk about how to separate pups from a mother plant that are growing on the stem like this, because somebody had asked me that they do have a lot of pups on the stem and how do we separate them. Now guys, this is an absolutely beautiful echeveria. I'm not very sure about the name. I had made a video on it. The succulent was growing absolutely beautiful, and suddenly I happened to notice that this succulent tends to get these bumps on the leaves. As you can see, it looks absolutely beautiful, gives a very different look to the succulent. A lot of people have asked why do these bumps tend to appear on the leaves. Now, as per the research what I've done on Google, I got to know that these bumps tend to also store a little bit of water. So basically giving a little bit more backup to the succulent, because of course my succulent was very under watered at some point of time, due to which it started to develop bumps. Now, it's not necessary that every dehydrate succulent will develop bumps, but there are certain succulents that do. They have it in their genes. Basically they tend to modify the leaves and they get these bumps, and the main reason for them is to store a little bit more extra water. Again, bumps will not appear on all of the succulents, it only on certain varieties. Like you might have seen the Echeveria Raindrop, Echeveria Heart's Delight. These are the succulents that do get these bumps. There are a couple of more succulents that do get these bumps, but not all of them. So it was an extremely amazing thing to see that the succulent had put out bumps. Another thing that I wanted to point out over here is you can see there are some scarring on the leaves. Now this is not related with powdery mildew or any kind of fungal attack. It's just basically the succulent was getting acclimated and it got a little bit burnt in the process of getting acclimated. So we need to differentiate between what is a fungal attack and what is a sunburn. So we do not want to spray fungicide on a succulent that is otherwise healthy, because that is just waste of resources. So now let's get back to cutting off the pups from the stem of the mother plant. So the important things to remember, same thing, ensure that the succulent is in its growing period. Echeveria are in their growing period during the summers, so you can do a cutting. Ensure that your environment is pleasant. It's not very hot, it's not very cold. Apart from that, hydrate your succulent before you go ahead and do any kind of repotting, any kind of stem cutting, separating of the offsets, and like in this case, cutting off the pups from the mother stem. So now over here I have a clear indication where I want to cut. I can do 2 of the cuttings because both of these pups have reached a decent size. So they are around 3 centimeters, probably more than 2 centimeters, and they are good enough or decent size to cut them off from the mother plant. But you can see the others, like this one is quite small. This one over here is quite small, so I'm not going to be touching them. I will only cut these 2 that are large enough. We'll take the scissors, just point it towards the stem and chop. We'll do the same for the other one as well. Chop, and there we go. You can see now this portion will also start to put out pups, guys. It's not that we have cut the stem off and that's all about it, that's the end of story. This will also start putting out pups. Even over here where we have cut, it will again start to put out pups. So you can see it's going to be an ongoing process. If we are going to cut, it's not like once we are done that portion is not going to put out any growth. It will continue to put out growth. So now we have both of our pups over here. You can see they are of a decent size, a little bit of mealybugs which we can clear off easily, but you can see this is going to be the journey, a new journey of this mother plant. So her offsets are going to start on with the new journey. Of course, the new journey, we have to be extremely careful. Most important, they shouldn't come in contact with any moisture or water, otherwise they will have a high possibility of rot. I'm not saying it will rot, but there is a high chance that they might rot. So now, just for a precaution, because I seen few of mealybugs on the pups, so what we are going to do is we are going to take some cinnamon powder. So we're going to take some cinnamon powder and just dip the cut part which we have done. If you want, you can even sprinkle some cinnamon powder on the leaves. It's absolutely okay. We'll do the same thing for the other one as well. Sprinkle some on the leaves because we did see some mealybugs. So we want to take all precautions as possible. Now, a lot of people have asked me, where do we keep this? As I said, you can keep it on a dry surface. Let's say you do not want to keep it on the dry surface, you want to put it into the soil, you can. The soil has to be completely bone dry. There should not be even a single drop of water in the soil. Just take your cutting, you can let them callus like this, which is no issue as long as there is no water. And this cinnamon powder, I can put it back into the soil like this. I can sprinkle it off, and that's all about it. You can even callus your succulents on the soil. Only thing you have to do is do not push them too deep. Just take the succulent and leave it on the upper layer like this. You do not need to push it. Just leave it on the upper layer like this, and keep it in a place where there is a good amount of indirect bright light, where there is a good amount of air circulation, and that's about it. Within couple of weeks, the roots will start to appear. Now this is definitely going to take some time. I will show you my Graptosedum ghosty that I had recently done a cutting. If you remember, I had shown you the cutting. As I said, the quality of the video was not good because I was running out of battery and I was shooting the video on an iPad. I'll show you the quick clip of how it looked. So you can see this was the cutting that I was doing. So today, after, I don't know, I'll have to check the date, and I'm going to put the date on the screen. You can see both of them have rooted. There we go. You can see this one has more roots. You can see this one is just putting off, but it already has a good long roots. You can see this on one side, whereas this one has put a lot of roots. So you can see it is pretty simple. All you have to do is just keep them in a dry place, let them callus, and then the rooting tends to happen. Again, this all depends upon your environment and climate. I cannot give you an exact time frame. Right now there is a lot of humidity in the environment because it is the monsoon season, so probably that has also tried and helped in the succulent cutting, putting out those aerial roots, which is fantastic. Very happy with it. Ideally they are supposed to be summer dormant succulents. You can see in my environment, dormancy doesn't play a very important role. It is not very dominant in my environment. Even my dormant succulent, which is the Graptosedum ghosty, after doing the cutting, within couple of days itself, they have started to put out roots. So you can see it all depends upon your environment and climate. Now talking about this, again, I will not be watering it. I am going to keep it safe. All this while it was in direct sunlight, but it has been raining, so I cannot afford to keep it out in a place where there is moisture, because we have done some cuttings over here. There is a risk of this getting rotted if it comes in contact with rainwater. Remember last time I had shown you my Crassula red pagoda, which had got rotted because it came in contact with moisture and rainwater. So I have to be extremely careful. I'm going to be keeping it under the shed for another 2 or 3 days before I put it back again in direct sunlight, because I do not want these cuts to come in contact with any moisture or rainwater. So guys, that's all about it. You can see it is pretty simple to separate the pups of the mother stem. All you have to do is just ensure that they reach a decent size. Anything above 3 centimeters is going to work out really well. Again, I will make a shorts video as and when they start to put out roots. It is going to take a couple of days, probably weeks, depending upon the mood of the succulent. I don't know when it's going to put the roots, but whenever it does, I will definitely keep you guys updated. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.